Hello everyone and welcome to a new video from Your Overwatch. I'm Eddie the Chump, and today we'll be making another of our top 5 mistakes videos. This time we'll be covering tanks. Now tanks as a role are somewhat complicated. There are heroes who are nominally called tanks, but who don't really fulfill what we consider to be a tank's job in Overwatch. In fact, picking Roadhog as a main tank could be considered a mistake in its own right. The same goes for Xayah. They're both hybrid heroes, off tanks meant to complement a style of play largely dictated by your comp's main tank. In matchmaking, it's quite common to see Xayah and Roadhog both picked as the tank options, and although it can work out because matchmaking is at the best of times a little disorganized, it's not ideal. Who out of Xayah and Roadhog can initiate? Do they provide enough shielding to play in a death ball? Do they have the mobility to be run in a dive setup? The answer to those questions is no, not on their own. Picking them is largely reflective of a desire for individual impact over performing the vital but less glamorous task of enabling your team to play in the manner they wish to exploit. Jumping in too early. Phrasing the mistake in this way seems to levy all the criticism at a Winston player, and that is certainly a particularly noticeable example of this mistake, but it's actually much wider than that. Really what the mistake is concerns being out of sync with your team when initiating. Initiation is one of the most vital parts of setting up a team fight properly. If your team is not ready to follow you, and you just go ahead and jump in with Winston or pin with Rein, you can be gifting the enemy team a much easier job of isolating you, as you've essentially done it to yourself. Now, I'll extend an olive branch here. Sometimes, even if you wait to group, call what you're going to do, and make sure everyone knows what you're going to initiate onto, when you do, your team can struggle to commit and doesn't follow you. This is one of the worst feelings in Overwatch, and can feel absolutely thankless, so I'm not surprised people might get impatient and try to force the play by jumping in immediately. But whether it's the result of frustration, or just not knowing whether your team is ready, the end result is the same. Initiating out of sync with your team is a fast track to losing a team fight. Overstaying your welcome. This is actually a small collection of mistakes under an umbrella term. Firstly, if you're playing a dive tank like Winston or D.Va, it's very possible to initiate properly, but get stuck in a situation that's unfavourable by not knowing when it's time to dive back out. Maybe you jump in with Winston and try to harass their back line, but then their team peel back effectively to limit your impact. There's a moment where the duel with your target will flip in momentum. Now if you're very close to killing, say, an Ana or a Mercy or a DPS, the temptation might be to stay, kill that target, and if you trade out, well, that might just be enough for your team to win anyway. The challenge comes in knowing when that fine line is crossed, and realizing quick enough you won't be able to even trade, so you jump back out to be healed and go again. If you don't, and you just get shut down over and over, it's going to be very hard for your team to win constantly fighting 5v6. Now I said this was a collection of small mistakes. The next component of this is shield or ability management. If you use your bubble as Winston ineffectively, or your defense matrix as D.Va is getting no value when you do jump in, you're making this job even harder. Also, assuming you're the priority for healing is another factor. This is particularly noticeable with Reinhardt. Gone are the days where Ana pocketing you can keep you up seemingly forever with minimal effort. Playing in a way that just simply assumes you'll be auto-healed will create positional and tactical laziness if you're not careful. Tanks take real discipline to play properly. If you lack that, or the awareness to read in engagement, you'll take a one-way trip to Feed Town, poking at the choke. Ah yes, the famous infinite poke battle. The mistake is not that tank players poke, it's that they don't initiate at all, or they use abilities vital to initiation too early in the poke battle. The perennial Winston dropping his bubble at the choke on Hanamura A offense is a great example. A bubble is not a Rein shield, and there's a few ways to think about this. On the one hand, the Winston player might say, I dropped my bubble there because my team was facing and taking too much damage before fighting. That is actually a criticism of your team. They shouldn't be poking without shielding and taking damage, that's just a fact. The answer is not to drop your bubble though. The answer is get them to stop facing, group properly, and go with you as you jump a high priority target. Winston's bubble is really strong right now. In fact, Winston is really strong in general. That vital bubble will help your team so much more when used appropriately on initiation. You as Winston need that bubble to do your job. If you use it as a bad Rein shield, you're doing you and your team a massive disservice. Infinite poking applies in other contexts too. I've been in countless games where the tanks are just so reluctant to initiate. When I've called for a speed boost as Lucio to get them where they need to be, I end up in front of them because they still think poking is the way to go. Some Rein players think that their only job is to hold up their shield. This is not true. If you stand far back, never initiate, your team are stuck there with you. At range, enemies are not afraid of the massive potential Rein has to brawl. They can just sit there and poke back. No team wants Rein moving at them at speed and doing cleave damage while the rest of his team follow him in. Winning in Overwatch is facilitated best when people perceive it from the right point of view. Overwatch matches are won by winning team fights. To do that more often, the main tank has to do their job properly, and to do that, one needs to understand when it is time to commit and go in and fight. Endless empty poking will get you nowhere in record time. Diving the wrong target / tunnel vision. I'm just going to put this out there, if you play Winston and constantly dive the opponent's Lucio or main tank, you won't win many exchanges. You have to attack the right targets. If you as D.Va are in a 20-minute battle with the opponent's D.Va in some sort of hellish defense matrix standoff, both of you aren't doing your jobs. FREEDO's excellent target priority guide from yesterday made a lot of these points for me, but essentially, if you as a tank player get distracted by a low impact duel for too long, your team won't thank you for it. Get in, put extreme pressure on a vital component of the enemy's comp, and then move on. If your opponents are playing triple tank, Ana should go immediately. If they're playing triple DPS, pick a big threat and eliminate it, or occupy that threat for so long you hamstring their impact. If you're playing D.Va and the enemy are running Pharah, eating all her rockets with defense matrix will drive her to distraction. Tunnel visioning and shooting Lucio for an hour as he heals and wall rides away won't help your team. Poor ultimate usage. Oh Xayah, do not graviton if you've already lost the teamfight. The temptation to make a hero play may be great, but a proper graviton with all your threats still up to follow up on it is worth holding on to, even if you have to regroup to do this. This can be applied to all other tanks as well in principle. Do not waste these potentially fight-winning ultimates. They are some of the most devastating in the game. Ryan's hammer down, if not wasted, can be the difference between a win and a loss. The most basic mistakes are either using them too late or using them too early. If you Ryan hammer a team behind a Winston bubble, well that's RIP. If you D.Va bomb a team that can easily run away, you've just wasted the biggest potential damage in the game. The great thing about tank ultimates is that they have various utility. A setup hammer down while a flanking Ana or Hog pulls away the enemy's Ryan shield can set up some of the fastest team wipes in Overwatch. But just as good, saving hammer to fight your way out of a graviton or to carefully snipe Nano Genji Blade as it dives your backline is just as impactful. Those hero plays are awesome, but where tank ults can fail is in the margins. A slight mistimed or misplaced hammer makes all the difference. Learning the marginal second-to-second timings comes from experience, either in aim or in game awareness. Launching your preemptive D.Va mech at the start of a fight can be an opening for Soldier to pop sights without a mech to disturb him. Using Winston's primal rage after a fight is over, or just to survive yourself, isn't as much value as using it to get a kick-off pick, or dueling a Soldier sights or Genji sword yourself. Let me know in the comments if there's any more tank mistakes you can think of. I'm sure I missed some. These are just some of the most prominent in our minds. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please don't forget to leave a rating. If you never want to miss one of our videos again, please click the bell icon next to the subscribe button on our channel to join the notification squad. You'll be in good company. Please check out our Discord, where you can join one of the biggest Discord communities for Overwatch out there. And also finally, please check out our Twitter, where you can find updates about new videos and other cool stuff. I've been Eddie the Chump, and until next time.